Good morning and welcome to the regular meeting of City Council for Monday, November 20th, 2023. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess. Mr. Coghill. Here. Ms. Gross. Mr. Kraus.
Here.
Mr. Lavelle. Mr. Strasburger. Here. Mrs. Warwick. Here. Mr. Wilson. Mrs. Killsmith, President.
Here.
5 members present.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Our next order of business is to amend the agenda. Is there a motion to amend the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The agenda is amended. Good morning, Solicitor Friedson. Our next order of business is proclamations, and I have several to be presented today in City Council. We're going to start with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and we'll have Director Pollock from Mayor Gainey's office, who's a season ticket holder. Please come forward as well. Yeah, and the Riverhounds. I can't do it without you. Come forward, come up here. I just want to say, we've had the Riverhounds, their home is in District 2, South Shore, which is in District 2, in my district. And I got to tell you, I am so proud of everything that they do, not only on the field for their regular games, but what they do for our community is amazing. Yeah, what they do for our community is amazing. They host several clinics for kids across Allegheny County, and maybe beyond for all I know, but they do a tremendous amount of work, and I would just want to thank them for all that they do for the city of Pittsburgh, and I'm especially proud to have you in District 2. So we're going to begin with, where's Jake Pollock, Director Pollock? Oh, come up here with me. Yeah. We're going to do Coach Lilies first, okay? Well, you can, yeah, come up with us if you want, or you can stay there. It's up to you. You can. Either way. Do you want to read us something? Okay. Whereas the Pittsburgh Riverhounds Soccer Club's 2-0 victory over Hartfield Athletic on Saturday, August 12th, made Coach Bob Lilly's 100th win with the Riverhounds. And whereas in 2023, Coach Lilly led the Riverhounds on their longest ever run in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, as for the first time, the team defeated 2 Major League Soccer teams in the same season on their way only to the second quarterfinal appearance in Riverhounds history. And whereas, with more than 100 wins leading the Riverhounds since becoming head coach in 2018, which includes winning the USL Championship Players' Shield in 2023 and a first-place finish in the Eastern Conference in 2019, Coach Lilly stands as the coach with the most wins and the longest tenure of any coach in the Riverhounds' 24-year history. And whereas, of the end of the 2023 season, he has more wins leading professional clubs than any active coach in American soccer. And he's here in Pittsburgh. Something to be proud of. And he has qualified for the playoffs every season of his career. Pittsburgh has now been the longest stop in a highly successful coaching career in which Coach Lilly has amassed more than 350 victories at the professional level, including time with Hershey's Wildcats, Montreal Impact, Vancouver Whitecaps, Detroit Ignition, and Rochester Rhinos. Those are some names. And whereas Coach Lilly won USL championships in 2006 with the Vancouvers and in 2015 with Rochester, and 6 times in his career honored as his league's Coach of the Year. He is a member of the USL Hall of Fame and the Men's Soccer Hall of Fame at George Mason University, where he played from 1984 to 87. And now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby recognize and congratulate Bob Lilly for his remarkable career and season. And be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare Monday, November 20th, 2023 to be Coach Bob Lilly Day in the City of Pittsburgh. Can I have a motion to approve in a second?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Proclamation's approved. Sorry, nothing like putting you on the spot.
Thank you, Madam President, for the invitation to speak briefly here. I just want to echo Council's recognition of Coach Lilly for this really important achievement here in our city. The growth and development of professional soccer here has been a long time in coming. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds have existed since 1999 and have been, I think, a hallmark of the development of the sport in our city. But certainly the greatest success they've seen in promoting the sport locally has been under Coach Lilly's leadership as head coach, in which we've seen some enormously successful seasons, the composition of some really top flight teams. I was also commenting to him during the proclamation that I'm fairly certain that when he set that record, when the record was set for Rochester, he was also their head coach. So this is the second time that he's had that leadership position, and we're extremely, I can say among Pittsburgh soccer fans and among Riverhound supporters, really grateful to have him as the coach of our team. So thank you all very much, and Madam President, thank you for the chance to participate today.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate being acknowledged. It's a lot of hard work from the organization and the players, and Tuffy Schallenberger, our owner. Thanks for bringing me in here because it's been a great project. You know, we've, I think, changed a lot about soccer in this city, but also in the region. And, you know, our academy's working with a lot of kids. A lot of kids are getting opportunities to go play in college and spread the gospel. And everything we've done here has been tried to lift that profile of soccer. And it's a huge growing sport in this country, certainly around the world. And with the World Cup coming, it's nice to see the Riverhounds getting a lot of attention, and it was a great year this year. So I'm just honored to be a part of it, and thank you for the kind words today.
I'm waiting for you. Tuffy's going to say a few words here. Sorry.
Well, thank you. Want to echo a lot of what Bob just said here. It's been a long journey for us over across the river there, and you know, we've come a long way, and it's from the support of a lot of people, including the city here. But things are heading in the right direction. Like I said, I think we've grown the sport a lot, but we still have a long way to go, and we just want to continue to make the city proud. Want to congratulate the whole team this year. It was, since I've owned the organization, it's probably a team that there was a really special team this year, and they put a lot of effort into it. And even though we fell a little short here on winning the championship, but that's ultimately our goal, and we will bring a championship to Pittsburgh at some point here. So just want to thank everybody again, and thank the sport, and thank council here for this special day.
I want to thank you for your investment in the city of Pittsburgh and your, especially in District 2. I just want to thank you for that, because I was so excited to cut the ribbon for something in District 2 being built. I said, we actually got a stadium in District 2. So I just want to thank you for everything you do. It's an amazing, you work with organizations across Pittsburgh, and for the first time I'm getting requests to build soccer fields in our district. So thank you very much for all you do. We're going to do one more proc for the team itself, and then we'll take a photo, okay? Some photos. We'll have all members come up. You're going to help me with some of these names, right? Okay. I don't want to butcher them. which I will. With a name like Smith, it happens a lot. Anyway, whereas in 2023, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds for the first time won the USL Championship Players' Shield as the team with the best record at the end of a 34-game regular season, amassing 19 wins and 10 draws with only 5 losses. And whereas, as part of that regular season, the Hounds won 13 matches at their Highmark Stadium, home on the South Shore in District 2, which it doesn't say here. I'll have to add that. Equaling the USL Championship record for home wins in a season. And whereas concurrently, the Riverhounds reached the quarterfinals of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open for only the second time, advancing through a club record 4 rounds of competitions. During the tournament, the Riverhounds defeated the 2 Major League Soccer teams in the same year for the first time, securing a 1-0 win over the New England Revolution and a 1-0 win over the Columbus Crew in front of a Highmark Stadium record crowd of 6,107, and 2 of them were your family, right?
Three.
3 were your family members. And whereas, you have to help me with these names.
Forward Albert Tikwa.
Oh, well, I'm glad you said that. Was named as USL Championship Player of the Year. Was the winner of the Golden Boot as the league's top goal scorer with 20 goals. Was named USL Championship All-League Player for the first time in his career. And whereas center back,
And University of Pittsburgh alum, I might add, Arturo Ordonez.
oh, we'll have to add that to this prop. Okay. Was named as the USL Championship Defender of the Year for his work anchoring in a defense that led the league with 15 shutouts, and he also received the first all-league honor of his career. And whereas midfielder and team captain, I think I know this one. Go ahead.
King Kenny Canardo Forbes.
You're good at this. Maybe you could be an announcer. Was honored as an all-league player for the 7th time in his decorated career after becoming the first player with back-to-back 10-assist seasons in the USL Championship. And whereas the team set a new attendance record, averaging more than 5,000 fans per match and selling out Highmark Stadium for 13 of 17 matches during the regular season to break a record set in the team's inaugural 1999 season. And now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby congratulate the Pittsburgh Riverhounds for a record-breaking 2023 season, and be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare Monday, November 20th, 2023 to be Pittsburgh Riverhounds Day in the City of Pittsburgh. Can I have a motion to approve in a second?
So moved.
A second? All in favor?
Aye.
Proclamation's approved. Thank you, congratulations. I'm not sure, is County Exec Fitzgerald still here? Is he here? Oh, yeah, come up, because I know you were also instrumental in getting the Riverhounds Stadium built with us, so I just wanted to have you say a few words, too. And then we're going to turn it back over to you, Coach, or no, you, owner first, I guess. I don't know which one.
Well, congratulations. You guys have really made us all proud of what you've been able to accomplish. It's been a great run, and you've really put, the not just soccer, but the whole organization on the map in this region. And we're very, very proud of what you've been able to do. So I appreciate President and City Council for acknowledging what you're doing. And Tuffy, I know you've been working at it a long, long time and continue to do so. And we're proud of what you're doing. And we have our little partnership out in the Coriopolis area that we've been part of as well with the Highmark. So congratulations to all you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, City Council, and of course, Madam President, thank you for this honor. It means a lot to us, all the hard work of our front office staff, of our coaches, of our players, and of course of our fans. A day like this helps it to pay off. So as you've heard, we're dedicated and focused on the City of Pittsburgh, whether it be to the youth soccer community through the Riverhounds Development Academy, through our venues, Highmark Stadium and AHN Montour, which were mentioned, and of course the success of the Riverhounds. We're really excited to turn the page to what is actually our 25th anniversary next year. And if you haven't been to a Riverhounds game in a while, I would invite you to attend next year. Our season starts in March and it ends in November with a USL Championship. Thank you.
Okay, all members want to join us for the photo? And congratulations and thank you to the Riverhounds once again. All members, please join us. County Executive Fitzgerald, want to join us for the photo, please? I think Controller Lamb's here too. Controller Lamb, you want to come up? You want to come for the photo? Want to come for the photo? The office staff from the Riverhounds want to come forward for the photo, please? These are the people behind the scenes making a lot of things happen, so thank you for your work too. Here, hold your proclamations over. Hold it over. Yeah. You guys want to hold some props in the front? Hold them open in the front. Thank you, everyone. Congratulations. Congratulations. Happy to take care. Thank you for everything. Appreciate you always.
Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
And now can we have Controller Lamb please come forward with your team? Controller Michael Lamb, please come forward with all your family, friends, anyone, office staff who's here to support you. I see Rachel Heisler sitting there acting like she doesn't hear me. But you coming up? Come up. Doug. Everyone here for the controller, please come forward. You're going to have to call them because they're not listening to me. Councilman Coghill, come up.
Sure.
I couldn't keep Councilman Coghill from honoring Michael Liam, County Exec Fitzgerald, and next week, Treasurer Weinstein. Do you want to read any part of it? Okay, just making sure. So I just want to say I'm also proud that Controller Liam is also a resident of District 2. So I'll say that. I'm going to have to move the county exec to District 2. I will just say this, over his lengthy career, he is one of the people that I know that is so familiar with every part of government and what happens here in the city. And his institutional knowledge is going to be really a challenge to replace, but he has done a great job training and working with an amazing team, including Rachel Heisler, who will be his successor. But I will say the first female city controller. So we're excited about that as well. But I do want to make this about Controller Liam and all that he has brought to the city of Pittsburgh, which just even reading his proclamation has been tremendous, just what he brings. Whereas Michael E. Liam, son of Thomas and Barbara Liam, grew up in the Beachview neighborhood, Councilman Coghill's district. Then he wised up and moved to District 2. No, just kidding. just kidding. Beachview neighborhood, and now resides in Mount Washington with his wife Jill. And whereas he is a graduate of Penn State University and earned his Juris Doctorate from Duquesne University School of Law and a master's degree from the Heinz School of Public Policy at Carnegie Mellon University. He is also a graduate of the Local Government Academy and an attorney admitted to practice in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And whereas Michael Liam's public career began in 2000 as the Allegheny County Prothonotary, and as an outspoken supporter of the row office consolidation, he advocated for the elimination of his own elected position, taking effect in 2005. Because he believes the health and the vitality of the city of Pittsburgh is reflected in the participation of those activities that further strengthen the community, he ran for and was elected city controller in 2007. He took office on January 7th, 2008. And whereas, as controller, Michael envisioned a more transparent city government and created Open Book Pittsburgh, a website to search and view all city contracts and campaign contributions. He released a user-friendly version of the city's annual comprehensive financial report titled the Popular Annual Financial Report that provides a more understandable picture of the Pittsburgh's finances and information. And whereas Michael Liam worked to make the Comptroller's office more effective and the city more efficient, he, with officials from neighboring municipalities, was instrumental in the creation of Connect, the Congress of Neighboring Communities, in order to identify common public policy challenges. And whereas Michael is a founding co-chair of A+ Schools, which I'll forgive him for, and serves as the boards of the Kane Foundation, the Catholic Youth Association, the Downtown Pittsburgh YMCA, and Three Rivers Wet Weather. He is also a participating member of the Mount Washington Community Development Corporation and a board of fellows of the University of Pittsburgh's Institute of Politics. And now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby recognize and honor Michael E. Liam for his service, dedication, and contributions towards improving the quality of life for all people in the City of Pittsburgh. And be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare Monday, November 20th, 2023 to be Michael E. Liam Day in the City of Pittsburgh. Can I have a motion to approve in a second? A second? All in favor? Aye. Proclamation's approved. We're going to let a lot of people say a few words here. We're going to start with Councilman Coghill, who's a longtime friend of the Comptroller.
Thank you, Madam President. The Comptroller just asked me, was that a unanimous vote to approve? Yeah, I think you did. So, Michael, I just really wanted to point out, first of all, yes, he is a resident of District 2, but his heart and soul is in my neighborhood, Beachview, that we both grew up in. His brains are in
Beachview.
Right. Well, he does have the brains that comes out of Beachview, I'll say that. But no, hey, Michael, I just really wanted to take this opportunity to thank you, number one, for being a great fiscal watchdog for the city of Pittsburgh. You've done a really, really great job, and you should be really proud of your accomplishments. Growing up, we have all the same friends. We played at the same parks. We, go to the same funerals and weddings all the time. So I'll be seeing lots of you down the road. But I also want to take this opportunity to thank you personally for supporting me in any of my adventures. So with that, congratulations, and I want to thank your family as well. I'm not going anywhere. I'm the official roofing contractor for the Lamb family, and I see Jimmy and many of my customers over here. So I'll still be seeing a lot of you, and congratulations on a wonderful career, Michael. Thank you.
We're going to have you come up and say a few words, but City Council did get you a little something. Just so come up, say a few words, open your gift.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want me to open this now?
Whenever you want.
All right, well,
Yeah. Well, you might want to show it to the public.
yeah, right, okay. Well, let me first thank you very much. This is certainly not necessary, but I do appreciate the acknowledgement. Let me just start, first off, I did want to acknowledge Councilman Burgess and Councilman Kraus, who I started with here in the city, in this run with the city, and finished with. And so to both of them, I wish them well in whatever their future endeavors are. It's really hard for me to imagine that 35 years ago, I took a job here on the 5th floor of the City County building. Things were a lot different then. You know, Mayor Caligiuri was the mayor. Every member of City Council had been elected in a citywide election at that point, and a lot's changed. And while those whole 35 years for me weren't always with the city, they were always in this building. So this building has really become a second home to me in a lot of ways. And Grand Street and Ross Street have kind of become a second neighborhood for me. And because I've gotten to know so many people here and created so many friendships and relationships over the last 35 years, and it has been it's been wonderful. And it's been wonderful that we got a lot of things done over that period of time as well, and particularly working for the last 16 years as controller with this council and with prior councils, always in very cordial and professional ways that we've been able to get a lot accomplished, even sometimes when we didn't have the support of the administration. And that's such a critical role for the controller, but also for council, to really be that check. And we've done that. I mean, I think I look back to that critical moment back in 2010 when, the mayor was pushing us to sell our parking assets. And council and the controller came together with a plan to avoid that. To me, it's the biggest financial and best financial decision this city has made in the entire time I've been in office, because it not only enabled us to fund our pensions, which are in a much stronger place today, but it also, think about what would have happened during the pandemic had we sold those parking spaces. For all those businesses who wanted to move out into the street to do business, we'd have been having to contract with some private operator to make those things happen. So all those things, very, very important, and so I really appreciate it. I'm certainly gratified in the accomplishments, and when I think about next steps for me, I know I'll always be involved in public policy. I do have a feeling that one of these days in January, I'm gonna come back to 4th Avenue and try to park my car and walk into this building, just out of habit. But wherever I'll be, I'm sure we're gonna be involved in public policy and doing things. Of course, I couldn't do any of this without my family. I'm joined today by my brother Jim, and my nephew Kieran, my sister-in-law Gail, and all who played very significant roles in everything that I've done. And they always say behind a great man there is a woman rolling her eyes. I've had the great eye roller of my wife Jill has been so supportive of everything that I do, and so I certainly appreciate that. To council, I just want to say that I've had as I said, a great relationship. But as you look toward the future, and I've given this warning before, I know that there are a lot of things that need to be done, but always remember the things that people care about the most in this city are that they're safe and that their neighborhoods are clean. And when we stray away from those two things, a lot of times we find ourselves in financial situations that aren't sustainable. And so I encourage you to take a close look at this budget and the 5-year plan, and figure out where we're going to make sure that we're keeping our neighborhoods clean and the people in our community safe. So again, I can't thank you enough. I'll open this as I've been directed by not only my president, but my councilwoman, and I'm a proud member to live in District 2, and thank you. This is an acknowledgement here for with the city. So
I'll say your love beyond District 2. I'll just say that.
Well, thank you very much. So thank you. I appreciate this very much. Yeah. Lastly, let me just say this. Obviously, I couldn't have done any of this without the amazing support of an amazing staff in the City Controller's office. They are every day doing work that is pretty much thankless. The work that you don't see, the work of the things that actually get done that make the city work, paying the bills, doing the audits, getting the reports, doing all that work. And I'm joined by a lot of the staff here today. My deputy, Rachel Heisler, who will be the next city controller. I should call her city controller-elect Rachel Heisler. And obviously, they do a fantastic job. So on behalf of them, I say thank you, but they've made me look good for the last 16 years, and I certainly appreciate the work that they've done, appreciate your acknowledgement today. So thank you. Thank you very much.
County Executive Fitzgerald, I know you want to say a few words. And then we'll see if members want to all, we'll start with Councilwoman Gross, then we go down.
Well, let me congratulate Michael, first of all, for an unbelievably outstanding career that he has done. When you think about the transitions that this region has gone through governmentally, Michael's been part of just about every one of them. As he mentioned, when he started at City Council, it was an at-large position before '89, before people got elected. But then he also did a hell of a lot, I shouldn't say that word, a heck of a lot for county government, because at the time we had a county commissioner form of government, and Michael was the chair of changing the form of government that I actually got to be part of for the last 24 years. He advocated for the Home Rule Charter passage, which created a county executive and a county council form of government. And then, as was mentioned in the proclamation, he also advocated for the reform of that government by eliminating and consolidating some of the row officers. So some of the things that I've got to work with Michael as he went from the city, then to the county, obviously back to the city as controller over these last 16 years, has been really instrumental in really good government, transparency, and all the things that I think we sometimes take for granted out of his office and what he has accomplished. But he deserves a heck of a lot of credit for the great work that he has done. And I certainly call him a friend, and have been a partner for mine for the last 24 years as I've been in this government. But his longer tenure, I really consider him a mentor and somebody who's given good advice on how government could work. And then the last thing I'll say is, it was mentioned just briefly, connect. The fact that the city of Pittsburgh is working with all of these municipalities that are connected to the city, that are really part of the great ecosystem that we've become in this region. Michael was a big part of that with the Institute of Politics. So I want to thank him for the great work he's done, and I'm looking forward to his next chapter as well. Michael.
And we'll start with Councilwoman Gross.
Thank you, Madam President. Controller, congratulations. And this is a long and distinguished career. I've been around as an active citizen long enough to remember those changes, even to the county home rule. And I really appreciate that work and in fostering participatory democracy in a way, really a greater engagement from our citizens in what our region will become. And it's really, I've watched that difference too. So I'm really honored to be here and honored to see the arc of your career. And I just want to highlight how much I appreciate you work in mentioning the fight against the privatization of operations of city departments and city functions. We've worked on that in different kinds of facets, and it's such, I think, a threat that it just keeps coming back. So we've talked about it with our water system. Of course, the parking assets was, I think, a lesson that should be remembered and well learned. And we will continue to see private enterprise try to promise us false promises that they can do things better than we can in protecting the public good. And so I'm really glad you mentioned that, because it's something that I continue to see. And I also want to say how much I appreciate Connect. We're working with Connect on issues that we share across our borders. Again, those are the municipalities that the city of Pittsburgh borders. Most recently, one of my favorite topics, what to do with food waste and composting, and how do we do that better to lower our tonnage of waste that goes into landfills. These are challenges that all these municipalities share, and so I really appreciate that forum and being able to work with the neighboring communities. So it's a long and really fruitful career. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Councilman Lavelle.
Michael, it's been a pleasure to work with you over the years. One of the things I've appreciated most is that you've always been a very constant professional. There have been many times where you've come to the table and you didn't come necessarily to side with council, you didn't come to side with the administration, but you really came to be an independent voice and advisor regarding our our dollars and sort of reminding us all collectively that our first responsibility is to be fiscal watchdogs and be responsible stewards of the public dollars. And you've always done that fairly and just. And I thank you for that advice and the advice that you've even given me personally over the years. So thank you for all that you've done, and congratulations on a distinguished career.
Thank you. Councilwoman Strasburger.
Thank you, Madam President. Controller, congratulations on a distinguished career as well. I appreciate the work that you've done and overseen, sometimes visible, sometimes invisible, and your legacy is in the words we heard today in the proclamation and beyond. I too appreciate that you often came to council and were willing to tell us information that we didn't always want to hear, but it was important to convey to us nonetheless. And that's the sign of a true public servant who truly has his heart in it. And I'm grateful for your work over the years. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Warwick.
Yeah, so Controller Lamb, yeah, congratulations. And I just want to say, I don't, you probably don't remember this, but years ago, my neighborhood and I were sort of having this tussle with the city over a shuttle road, and you were one of truly the few people who sat down and met with us. And I remember walking away from that conversation. It was really the most satisfying conversation that we had with anybody on the topic, right? Just clear, concise, gave us some ideas. I don't even remember what we said, but I do remember walking away, and every time your name would come up, I'd be like, yeah, he was just, when it came to that MOC thing, he was just so helpful. So that really sticks in my mind. And then, later on too, when I was sort of first running for office, we spoke on the phone. You've just been so generous with your time and your guidance. I really appreciate it. And the same, I think, can be said for me of Controller-elect Heisler as well, which, you can always tell how good someone is by the people they surround themselves with, right? Like by their staff. So I look forward to continuing that open relationship with the office. And I hope too that as you move on to whatever's next for you, that I've got your number. If I ever have a question, I'll reach out. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And I don't know if Councilman Kraus is still online. That's enough, Miss. Sergeant Holmes, go back. Just sit back there. Don't do anything. Just sit back. Councilman Kraus? Okay. Seeing none, or seeing Councilman Kraus is not online, I just want to thank you for all that you've done for the city of Pittsburgh. You've always kept your eye on what was best for Pittsburgh, and you do have an amazing staff, an amazing team. But I want to thank you for making the smart decision to move to District 2. So, no. And I know you love the whole city of Pittsburgh and the region of Allegheny County. I do know that. With that said, we're going to have photos. Everyone want to come forward. And I will say that we are going to have you back for a meeting, hopefully next week. Kim is in my office is going to schedule where we're going to bring together City Council, the Mayor's office, and the Controller's office to work on the budget and what it should, make some tough decisions that we need to make this year. Will everyone want to come forward for the photo? He has his. Oh, no, here. Thank you. You can sit up here if you want. And we have a reception afterward. We have, right, Madam Clerk? Yeah. We have a reception after council. Controller, we have a reception after, so if you all want to go back there after the party. Okay? And now, he's waited so long, and he's a man who's always on time, so I'm probably driving him absolutely crazy. County Exec Fitzgerald, come on up. Do you have people here? Amy, you want to come up? No. Okay. Well, we got people here for you anyway, okay? I want to tell you that, you know, a lot of people say a lot of things. When you're in politics, everybody has some comments, everybody has their opinions. But I'm going to tell you, I have never seen anybody work as hard as I have seen County Exec Fitzgerald. I mean, he is literally everywhere still. So, I mean, he's everywhere. He's constantly doing some things in the county or region and helping people. He's been a great advocate for our area, and even though he's friends with Councilman Coghill, I kind of forgive him for that. No, just no. I would just say that he's done a lot of tremendous stuff for our region, and I think that it's going to be such a difficult time seeing you leave with all that you have, all the knowledge you have, and you went through some crazy times in your position, but you've always been like such an absolute gentleman and really supportive of our community. So I just want to thank you for all that you've done for not only Allegheny County, but for District 2 in particular. Whereas Rich Fitzgerald grew up in Pittsburgh's Bloomfield Garfield. Councilman, you want to come up? Bloomfield Garfield neighborhood, and graduated from Carnegie Mellon University. He and his wife, Kathy, have raised 8 children. His passion and love for his family and home motivated him to enter government. And whereas Rich served on County Council representing District 11 from 2000 to 2011, and was elected council president 4 times, oh Lord, during his tenure before running for county executive. He was first elected county executive in 2011 and has served as county executive since 2012, being the first executive to serve 3 full terms. And whereas under his leadership, he has helped to grow our economy and create good jobs, he has strengthened the county's finances and made government more efficient while improving the quality of life for everyone in Allegheny County. And whereas due to his efforts, the county saw a growth in population in the 2020 census, the first increase in 60 years. He has maintained investments in critical programs and services such as transportation and infrastructure, and oversaw the development of construction of hundreds of trail miles, and major county park improvements, all without raising taxes as property values increased. All without raising taxes. He did a lot without raising taxes. And whereas after nearly 24 years in public service, Mr. Fitzgerald still embraces and takes pleasure in working with others to make our county a great place to live, work, play, and stay. And invest, I might add. And now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby commend Rich Fitzgerald, who will leave a legacy of an impeccable work ethic and ability to bring people together to solve problems. And be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare Monday, November 20th, 2023 to be Rich Fitzgerald Day in the City of Pittsburgh. Can I have a motion to approve in a second?
So move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Proclamation's approved. Stuff everywhere, sorry. So you can say a few words and then, well, you first and then you, okay? Council first.
Thank you, Madam President, and I thank you for allowing me to be up here to honor these 2 gentlemen today. I don't know if you remember the first time we met. It was when you were ambitiously going after the county executive job. I remember being on my way to Southside to meet with you and Lisa and a mutual friend, Wayne Fontana, who coordinated that effort. And we didn't know each other, but I will tell you, his optimism and his confidence exuded in that meeting. I walked out of there not knowing this gentleman, but on the way home I remember telling Lisa, I've got to support this guy. I love his attitude. I love what he brings to the table. He's going to make a difference for this county. Seemed like a long shot at the time, but lo and behold, he went on to not only secure the Democratic Committee endorsement, but go on to win the county executive's race. And I just want to tell you how proud I am to have supported you from an early onset. What you brought to the table as from a business acumen and the financials as this county, as running it like a business, has meant so much to this region. And I realize that, and I hope other people realize that as well. Throughout the years, I want to thank you for your support for me and my endeavors. Always meant so much to me. As Madam President said, he seems to be everywhere. He was everywhere. He was, helped me in so many different efforts. So with that, Rich, it's not only you as a county executive, what you've done for the region, but it's you as a personal friend of mine. I really appreciate everything you've done. Thanks.
Well, boy, thank you so much, Madam President and Anthony, Councilman Coghill. Pittsburgh's the place I grew up. The city of Pittsburgh is the place I grew up. It's a place I raised my family, and 6 of my 8 children own houses and businesses, et cetera, in this city. So my love of this city, I can't say enough about it. But I also know that as the city goes, so goes the region, and so goes the county. When I took office 12 years ago, 4 members of council who I served with, Councilman Lavelle here, Councilwoman Smith, Councilman Burgess, and Councilman Kraus, were all great partners to be able to do this. I served with 3 mayors during my time, numerous council presidents, Councilman Kraus and Councilwoman Smith as presidents of council. But I will tell you that the energy and the partnership that this body has given to me has allowed us to really transform this place in many ways. And I think back about where we were 12 years ago and what neighborhoods like East Liberty and the Hill District and Lawrenceville and the Strip District and Manchester and on have just transformed. The South Side, the Uptown, we're still working. The BRT is going to transform so much of what goes on in Uptown and in the West End and Sheridan and all these communities. It's partnerships. It's partnerships around good governance. Things like Controller Lamb was able to impress upon me so many years ago when he led the change in the form of government. I remember advocating for that change in the form of government, not knowing that it's not that one day I was going to be serving in that position, and I never took it lightly. I know how important and how powerful the position of county executive is, and I'm looking forward to, as the next generation, as county executive-elect Anna Murata, we're working together very closely on transition to make sure that we can continue to build on many of the things that were done, but also to accomplish some things that weren't finished over my tenure. So I can't thank you enough. I look forward to the partnership going forward. This is still my home. I'm not going very far. There should be an announcement maybe in the next couple of weeks that will kind of clear that up a little bit, but I look forward to working with all of you in the future. Again, this is my home. This is a place I was born, place I've raised my family, my grandchildren, etc. It's so important to me, and I can't thank enough these 3 people behind me in the partnership that they've given to me over these last 12 years. And let's keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm very appreciative.
Thank you. I just did want to acknowledge and congratulate Rich on a career. If you get to your final day in office and someone can say things like, he works hard, he's honest, he's accomplished things. That's what you want, and that's Rich. I remember years ago when Rich was first running, I said to someone, not political, what do you know about Rich Fitzgerald? He says, I know he works hard, I know he's got a lot of kids. And I said, well, that's enough to win an election in Allegheny County, I think, it should be, right? Because he has really done an amazing job in the things that he's done for this county. First, as a member of council, when I worked here on city council, I worked in the 5th council district. Barbie, in your district, and Rich's district then kind of overlapped most of that district and went out into Munhall and the Steel Valley and those places. So we always knew a lot of the same people. We always worked together, and when we did the county reform that created the job of county executive, we needed people in positions and in the community step up. And Rich is one of those people who stepped up to say, this is the kind of change we need to really help Allegheny County speak with one voice. And for the last 12 years, that one voice has been Rich Fitzgerald, and he's done a hell of a job at it. So thank you. Thanks and congratulations. All right.
We're going to start with members. Councilwoman Gross.
Thank you, Madam President. Congratulations, Rich. I appreciate all of your time in office. In all of these conversations, it makes us really reflect how different things were 20 years ago, right? And it's really amazing, the transformations, as you mentioned, and not only in our city neighborhoods, but in the region as well. We've changed so much politically, we've changed so much economically, and it's really a new chapter entirely, doesn't it feel like? I mean, it really feels like a very, very different place. So even though we haven't agreed on every single thing, I do have a question. Do all of your kids own houses in my district?
No, a couple of them are in the south side. So 2 in Lawrenceville, 2 in Bloomfield. So 4 of the 6, yes.
No, it's a tremendous thing. Even with all of the change, that Pittsburgh families like to stick close to where their home is, right? And where our roots are. And it's one of the things that I really appreciate, because it's really critically important in a district that I represent. There's so much change. There's so many newcomers. I keep saying that the biggest risk is that we don't recreate the social fabric. Those really close associations where people are only 1 remove from each other, not 6 removes from each other like in other places in the United States. So recreating those ties, reinvesting in our communities, it's much appreciated. So thank you to you and your family.
Thank you, Councilman Lavelle.
Richard, it's been a pleasure to work with you over the years. You said it in your remarks, but the thing that you've probably taught me the most is about partnerships. Over the years, I found myself in a number of rooms with you where we've had to close the door and then have very candid conversations, a lot of it relative to economic development. But what you always stress in those closed rooms were, there's a way to work this out, and let's work through our differences, let's get on the same page, and then let's partner and figure out how we can get some great things done. And over the years, we have absolutely gotten a number of great things done. So I really appreciate you for all that you've taught me as it relates to good governments, as it relates to partnerships, and being willing to work through our differences. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Strasburger.
Thank you. County Executive, it's been a pleasure working with you over the years. I know it's not easy to be an executive, especially in these turbulent times. And one thing I've appreciated about you is, when embarking on big projects, your ability to stay the course despite maybe, detractors or others talking about what they might not like about it. You've always been able to accomplish big things or launch the beginnings of big things, in the case of BRT, for instance, and stay the course on them. I know you've been dogged in your pursuit of economic development in the city and region, in the county, and growing our population, and you've always had your kind of eye on the ball when it comes to that as well, and you've succeeded, so congratulations there. It's been a pleasure knowing you professionally, personally. I'm glad to have had you as a constituent. You were districted out of my district and into District 9, unfortunately, but hopefully one day we get you back. And lastly, I'll say another legacy I don't think anyone's mentioned is the number of political careers that you've launched. Not the least of which is our lieutenant governor. So, it's amazing work that you've done to foster the careers of others who have then run for public office. And we as a Commonwealth appreciate that. So thank you for your service.
Thank you. Councilwoman Warwick.
Yeah, hi. So congratulations. And I know it's been brief, our time serving together, but I will say initially I was I was addressing when I first got here, I was addressing some problems that were, had some overlap with the county, and I was was like, oh, how am I gonna? And council president was like, well, just call Rich. And I was like, oh, I can't just call him. Can I just call him? And she gave me her number, and you know, you helped me out. It was, you know, there was a sewage thing in Squirrel Hill, issue with the bus, you know, with the kids in Squirrel Hill also, and yeah, it was good. It kind of shows that, you know, if you really just pick up the phone and say hello and ask for help, you can get it. So it's a good example of working together. I appreciate it, and yeah, I'm curious about your announcement, but thank you very much.
Thank you, and I'm going to thank you for teaching me a lot, for all your advocacy for our city, for our county, but a lot in District 2. There was a lot that is happening now because of your involvement, so thank you very much for all that you've done. You're going to be sorely missed in the region. So with that said, do all members want to come forward for the photo?
Madam President?
Councilman Kraus.
Yeah, may I please?
Yes.
Thank you. Rich, good morning. I'm sorry I can't be there in person, but my heart is there. There is no one like you. They broke the mold when they made you rich, and people have said it, and I'll reiterate it. Hardest working man in government. And I am truly proud and honored to have shared this time with you and to call you not just a partner, but a friend. And I wish you nothing but the best in your next journey, and I'll be there right beside you, Rich. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you, Councilman. All members want to come forward for the photo, please? And Councilwoman Warwick, you have one to be read into the record. Madam Clerk? I can't see. Somebody down here? Somebody there? Yeah. I can't see. Amy.
Councilmember Warwick presents, now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby remember and honor those whose lives were lost to hate crimes, transphobic violence, and discrimination, and reaffirms our commitment to fight transphobia and promote understanding and acceptance of transgender individuals. Be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh declares November 20th, 2023, Transgender Day of Remembrance here in the City of Pittsburgh.
Approve in a second.
So moved.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Councilwoman, do you have any words you want to add?
Well, no, I'll be presenting that tonight at a ceremony with Trans Uniting, but I did also want to thank Dina Stanley and Maria Montano for helping put together the proclamation, and I look forward to presenting it tonight at their gala event. So
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank you.
And our next order of business is public comment. I would like to remind everyone that the rules of council state that comments are limited to matters of concern, official action, or deliberation which are or may be before City Council. Profanity and threats will not be permitted. When you are called to speak, please state your name and neighborhood for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak. Our first registered speaker is Naomi Mullen. Naomi Mullen.
Here, I honor my husband, who is a true City of Pittsburgh servant of the public from the 1970s until 2021. Shady trees, not shady deals in Bon Air. This is for you, Michael. Declaration of Rights. What are the rights set forth in the Declaration of Rights of the Pennsylvania Constitution? The Declaration of Rights of the Pennsylvania Constitution predates and was a model for the Bill of Rights of the United States Constitution. It is primarily a list of don'ts for the General Assembly in that it prohibits the enactment of laws that would infringe on certain rights. Those rights and prohibitions are set forth in the 28 sections of the Declaration as follows. Section 2, political powers. All power is inherent in the people, and all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their peace, safety, and happiness. For the advancement of these ends, they have at all times an inalienable and indefeasible right to alter, reform, or abolish their government in such manner as they may think proper. We have tried for over 2 years now to have Bon Air School building torn down and turned into a green space. But self-proclaimed friends of the mayor and city employees are encouraging developers to buy the school. The school board would rather spend multiple times the price of the building to keep it rather than cut their losses. We have been harmed by the school closure and the detrimental building. Is the resistance to giving the building to the city for $1 related to desired kickbacks? The math of holding onto the building makes 0 sense. Can we assume that lack of logic and math skills is due to public education? Or is there a lining of pockets involved? Where is the fiscal guidance? This was read at my husband's funeral. Retired Deputy Fire Chief Mike Mullen touched the lives of many people. His uncompromising dedication to his sworn duty to provide for the safety of the citizens of Pittsburgh was truly exceptional and one that should be emulated by every firefighter. He loved sharing his knowledge of firefighting in all its many aspects to make our firefighters safer, smarter, and more efficient on the fire ground. Mike knew most of the firefighters on the entire Pittsburgh Bureau of Fire by their first name and was always approachable, regardless of rank. If you had a question, he would stop what he was doing to answer it. He worked tirelessly, but also energetically his entire career in pursuit of more knowledge.
Thank you. Our next registered speaker is Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller. Dr. Miller?
Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller, I'm Bell Sewer. I also have a residence in Washington, D.C., which is the information and intelligence capital of the world, like it or not. The Global Intelligence Society is a form that anyone can sign on to who is committed to our fusion of optimal intelligence from the 21 primary disciplines to interpret optimum, multiple verified information. We use a three method to do this: offline information and online information. But online information is the third and only variable. We use communication with experts. So we have these 3 online and then 2 offline approaches. And we do this to solve social problems. Anyone who agrees with that can sign on. Now, I found nothing in the presentations this morning which offer any precision with regard to the offering of scientific information to the city and to the county. This is an extraordinary void that Ms. Strasburger and Ms. Warwick, Mr. Lavelle, all are concretely aware of this, and we think that this is a concern that is shared not only by this local government, by local governments all over the United States. And on information, we identify two primary problems. One of those problems is that many of us seem to think that if you go online, if you do a Google search or a search using another engine, that the answer you find is definitive. That almost as if the information that's available online is infinite. The information online is a Planck's length amount contrasted with information which is offline. A Planck's length is 1.53 times 10 to the minus 44 meters, which is extraordinarily small. Another problem is especially with online information, is that there is variation, number one, in the recording mechanisms at the point of the event. There is corruption of information in transmission, as this man over here with his camera, his anachronistic camera, knows. And there's change of information at the point of the server where the information is changed. Now, these three are compounded by fluctuations in the mechanism that people use.
Thank you. That exhausts our list of registered speakers. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address City Council?
Hi, everybody. My name is Sam Schmidt. I'm a resident of Bellevue. Thanks so much for being here and turning in my general direction and paying attention to what I have to say. I'm a resident of Bellevue, but I am a formerly unhoused person, which is what makes me really passionate about the work that I do today in outreach with our unhoused neighbors throughout the Pittsburgh region. So I'm here just to explain a little bit of my experience and talk about the need for shelter immediately, like yesterday. People are living and dying and giving birth on the street, and I'm in contact with those people, me and other outreach workers, including a lot of people from the community who are not affiliated with government or nonprofit agencies. So we're just going to be here week after week to report on the situation that's happening in the streets and those increasing numbers of unhoused neighbors and what their day-to-day life has been like and the kinds of things that they are suffering through as a result of our inaction. I want City Council to know that I'm here to deliver some information that I think can help you all further today's proposed bill, but also others in the future, because real outreach work isn't happening unless you're in the communities making contact with people on a regular basis. So I want you to know that the longer we wait to get affordable housing in place, number one, but also temporary shelter space like heated tents in place, number two, the more lives that we're risking and the more we're risking these folks' health, their physical health, their safety, their mental health, all of that is affected by our delay. So I just want that to be apparent. The unhoused population in the region has been growing significantly in the last 2 years while I've been doing this outreach work. It's grown about 19% in the last year. And what that looks like right now without adequate shelter space is more and more encampments popping up, more tents being added to those encampments, and tents popping up in places that are clearly unsafe, like along highways and bridges and things like that. So again, our inaction here is just going to lead to more and more of that over time. I think that things are getting especially worse with the conditions of the economy, not here in Pittsburgh, but nationally. So the city has a duty to make credible offers for adequate housing before clearing encampments throughout the city. That is a law, and what that adequate housing looks like in law has yet to be detailed because nobody's really challenged it. But there are a lot of outreach workers in the community ready to challenge that based on the accommodations that we're getting for folks who are sleeping outside and currently being exposed to the elements. People need to stay together. They build communities. They're safer in those communities. They're more stable in those communities. So some semi-permanent heated tent situation could be ideal as a transitional effort in getting those people into more permanent housing. Without it, we're putting lives at risk. Please consider signing on.
Good morning, Council. My name is John Hanrahan. I live in Fineview in District 1. I'm here to speak on the same bill that Sam spoke on. It isn't good that it has come to this, right? it reminds me of what it must be like if your house were on fire and the firemen show up and start breaking all your windows and busting down your door and hosing down all your precious belongings, right? That can't feel good, but when all else fails, this is what you have to do, right? Though, of course, all else has not failed yet. I remember last year you passed a bill to ask the city to find places to build more permanent structures, tiny homes, what have you. It's really disappointing that nothing came of that, and I hope it's disappointing to you too. I'm curious to hear more about what exactly came of that. Did the city say, no, we actually can't do that, we won't do that, or did they ignore you, or what? So I would love to hear more on that. And also, all else has not failed yet at the national level, right? It reminds me of the Hoovervilles that we had 100 years ago, which led to a massive housing movement that led to the construction of public housing. Obviously, the public housing we ended up with was a compromised version of what we really deserved, but we really need to be thinking, the tents are so necessary, right? And we need them, and we need these zoning changes to make them permissible, especially given the administration's kind of Kafkaesque vision of where tents are allowed to be, which is nowhere, essentially. But we also need a big picture, revision, a demarketization of our housing system, because what we have right now is not working. Our housing prices are skyrocketing, homelessness is skyrocketing, and you can't do anything about that. That's a national problem. That's bigger than U9. So I will just salute Council Members Gross and Coghill for the solution that you have come to in the immediate term, and I want you all to keep your eyes on the big picture here as well.
Are there any further speakers wishing to address City Council?
Hello, my name is Rachel Nunes. I'm the executive director of the Thomas Merton Center. We're a peace and justice organization that's been in operation in Pittsburgh for 50 years. Our office is located in Wilkinsburg, but I live in the Hill District. I was very heated when I spoke last week. Another neighbor who was on the ground during the First Ave homeless camp eviction told me that they have also been on edge ever since. So I can imagine how our neighbors in the streets feel in the aftermath, not knowing when their site will be next. I want to speak in support of Deb and Anthony's bill to amend the zoning code, which would enable the city to begin setting up fully serviced campsites for our unhoused neighbors. I appreciate that you both move swiftly to bring this to council. I believe their plans are based in compassion and care. However, I must insist that these sites have zero barriers for use, are located in areas at or near existing campsites to minimize further stress and displacement, are not policed or surveilled, and most importantly, that they are safe use sites. Addiction is often a compounding factor for unhoused neighbors. Opioid recovery was described to me by a woman as she was packing her belongings on First Ave like this. If you take away someone's right hand, say a musician or hairdresser even, they have to learn from scratch how to continue to live their lives and practice their craft. Opioid recovery is much the same. You have to learn how to live again and how to practice life without substance use. And it takes time. She had been sober for 3 years prior to being in the streets again and had plans to try again after she was settled in a new camp. The opioid crisis, much like our housing crisis, began and was perpetuated by corporate greed. Recovery, as well as recouping from being unhoused, is incredibly difficult to take on without basic needs being met. If we can get these sites set up that provide safe haven from the elements, showers, food, and other critical resources as safe use sites, we could provide the foundation folks need to recover and recoup. Lastly, I have 2 things for the mayor and his administration. These plans and ideas need your full support, and your neighbors again demand no more camp evictions. Thank you.
Are there any further speakers wishing to address City Council?
Good morning. My name is Yvonne F. Brown. I'm a little disturbed with Ms. Smith, but I'm going to try to start off with something nice. I wanted to say to 90.5, I listen to you every day. You have, in between your programs, sometimes you have music, and I want to tell you to let think you said, I wanted to say the lady's name that you say that does the music. She knows who she is. I only got 3 minutes, so I can't think about it now. What I want to say is this. When we come down here and sit hours, when them councilmen are at home, you shouldn't let them speak no 10 or 15 minutes. 3 minutes just like us, because they can come down here, Miss Smith, they can come down here and they can speak just like we can. And then I don't appreciate when the sergeant of arms comes back and tells me that you're telling me because I'm making noise, I'm making some sounds to come back. What about them two council people talking all while the people are on the TV? Councilman Gross and you, Cardhill. They carry on the call. I heard them talking, and I went to the sergeant of arms and said, they're back there talking. I can hear them back here. And he said, I know. She has to say it, you, Miss Smith. Everybody thinks that Miss Smith is all that. Miss Smith, I did too. But I'm telling you, anytime you mistreat me, because let me tell you something, I may not remember what they say or how you say it. I can't remember if you hit me, how many times you hit me, but I can remember how you made me feel. You make me feel like I have no business coming down here, but you don't know what you don't know. Do you understand that? If we don't tell you, you won't know. In the same way with the homeless people, coming down speaking for the homeless people, I talk to the homeless people. There's a homeless man named Hammer. If you see Hammer, tell her I asked about him. This man wants to kill himself. He said he tried to kill himself. They put him in the hospital. They sewed him up. Then they took him to the homeless shelter. He went there. He took and he told them. He came. They fed him. The next day he said, can I come late? They said, yeah. He went, and they went in, and he was late, and they wouldn't feed him. He said, I was hungry, and I was telling him I was hungry. They locked him in the room. This is the Beth Haven or something. This man told me the name. I can't think of it. But this was a homeless man that got locked up because he came late, asked could he come late, eat late. And they locked him up and he was crying. I mean, I see the people. I understand. You're not a criminal because you're homeless. You're not a criminal because you're homeless. And no way the mayor, that black mayor, should have done that to them people. I done told the mayor, and I'm going to tell Jens, he needs to get himself together. Because you got a councilman, my councilman, that will not speak to me, will not speak to me.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Thank you, Ms. Brown. Are there any further speakers wishing to address City Council? Any further speakers wishing to address City Council? Seeing no further speakers, we'll now move on to the next order of business, which is the presentation of papers. And we'll begin with Councilman Burgess, Chair of Human Resources. Councilman Coghill for Councilman Burgess. Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Burgess presents Bill Number 2189, Resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Burnalong, Inc. at a cost not to exceed $20,004 for unlimited access to the Burnalong, Inc. Health and Wellness video platform and community exercise programs. Bill 2190, Ordinance amending the Pittsburgh Code of Title 4, Article 1, Chapter 424, City Employee Parking, Section 424.03, Parking Regulations, to transfer responsibility for parking regulations to the Director of the Department of Human Resources and Civil Service and enable the establishment of a uniform employee parking policy at no cost to the city. And Bill 2191, Ordinance amending the Pittsburgh Code of Title 5, Article 7, Chapter 542, On-Street City Employee Parking, Section 542.02, Definitions, and 542.03, Parking Regulations, to add definitions and to transfer responsibility for parking regulations to the Director of the Department of Human Resources and Civil Service at no cost to the city.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And Councilman Coghill, can you make a motion to waive Rule 8 on Bill 2189?
Yes, motion to waive Rule 8 on Bill 2181.
89.
2189.
Yes. Thank you. Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The bill will appear on this afternoon's Standing Committee agenda. I forgot about it this afternoon. and Councilman Coghill, Chair of Public Safety and Wellness. Madam Clerk, you need a cough drop or something? You need a cough drop? Okay. I feel bad. You sound bad. Okay.
Thank you, Madam President.
Councilman Coghill presents Bill 2174, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of public safety to enter into an agreement or agreements with the Federal Emergency Management Agency for the purpose of receiving and spending grant funds in the amount of $82,000 with a local match of $20,500 to expand the city surveillance camera network. Bill 2175, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Safety to enter into an agreement or agreements with Pittsburgh Public Safety Supply, Inc. for the provision of uniforms, duty equipment, and related tailoring and embroidering services for the Department of Public Safety for a 5-year term. And Bill 2183, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Johnson Controls Fire Protection, LP, in an amount not to exceed $19,950 for rental of a replacement X-ray machine for the lobby of the City County building.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Gross, Chair of Intergovernmental and Educational Affairs.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Councilwoman Gross presents Bill number 2176, resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for 200 Sandusky Street at no cost to the city. Bill 2177, resolution authorizing the approval of the 2024 Housing Opportunity Fund annual allocation plan for all council districts. Bill 2197, ordinance amending and supplementing the Pittsburgh Zoning Code Title IX, Zoning, Article 5, Use Regulations, Chapter 911, Primary Uses, 911.02, Use Table, and adding Section 911.04.A 102, Temporary Managed Community.
Thank you. And Councilman Kraus, Chair of Public Works and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you. And Councilman Lavelle, Chair of Finance and Law.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Lavelle presents Bill 2179, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Denton's, Cohen, and Grigsby, P.C. for expert legal services in connection with the labor and employment matter for an amount not to exceed $3,986.38 over 1 year. Bill 2180, resolution providing for the sale of certain property acquired by the City of Pittsburgh at tax sales, items A through S, 2335 LaPlace Street, 2335 LaPlace Street, 2334 Center Avenue, 805 Clarissa Street, 145 Mayflower Street, 7136 Hamilton Avenue, 10 South Wheeler Street, 8517 Pershing Street, 4406 Chatworth Street, 4561 Gladstone Street, 701 Weston Way, 707 through 709 Elkton Street, 0 Saginaw Street, 0 Saginaw Street, 3012 Zephyr Avenue, 1815 Rialto Street, 1417 Boyle Street, 0 Lorraine Street, and 1347 Romanoff Street. Bill 2181, resolution repealing items and resolutions approved on various dates which authorize the sale of property in various wards of the City of Pittsburgh to an incompletion of sale, items A through K, 6951 Upland Street, 5027 Steel Court, 726 Ormsby Street, 51 Roanoke Street, 43 Roanoke Street, 627 Chest Street, 138 Wabash Street, 1234 Spring Garden Avenue, 1304 Voskamp Street, 2716 California Avenue, and 3206 Rothplet Street. Bill 2182, resolution providing for the conveyance by the City of Pittsburgh of certain property having been placed for sale to adjoining property owners in conjunction with the City of Pittsburgh's side yard program. Items A through E. 2315 Center Avenue, 5123 Kincaid Street, 5023 Broad Street, 5220 Kincaid Street, 5305 Broad Street, 5301 Broad Street, 5351 Kincaid Street, 5500 Camellia Street, 906 Laxton Street, 0 Finley Street, 0 Mount Vernon Street, 7205 Race Street, 7153 Idlewild Street, 7155 Idlewild Street, 7220 Idlewild Street, 7716 Tuscarora Street, 4826 Giddens Street, 0 Weiss Street, 305 Walter Street, 406 Eureka Street, 405 Cedarhurst Street, 937 Iton Street, 836 Lovett Way, 1432 Firth Street, 1950 Lay Street, 523 West Jefferson Street, 605 Chester Avenue, 4020 Vinston Street, 4022 Vinston Street, 0 Red Rose Avenue, and 2248 Lucina Avenue. Bill 2184, resolution providing for an agreement or agreements and a lease or leases by and between the City of Pittsburgh and First Vehicle Services, a Transdev company, pursuant to which First Vehicle will furnish all work and services needed to manage and maintain the city's vehicle fleet. Cost shall not exceed $135,994,438.35 over a 10-year period. And Bill number 2185, ordinance amending the Pittsburgh Code Title II, Fiscal Article 5, Special Funds, Chapter 237, Stop the Violence Fund, 237.02, Establishment of the Stop the Violence Fund, by establishing a maximum annual dollar amount allocation to the fund and amending the Pittsburgh Code Title II, Fiscal Article 5, Special Funds, Chapter 237, Stop the Violence Fund, 237.03, Uses and Restrictions of the Stop the Violence Fund by changing the annual percentage budgeted for outside community-based non-governmental organizations and establishing a maximum annual percentage to be allocated to the Department of Parks and Recreation.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Strasburger, Chair of Recreation, Youth, and Senior Services.
No new papers, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Warwick, Chair of Innovation, Performance, Asset Management, and Technology.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Councilwoman Warwick presents Bill number 2186, resolution amending Resolution 415 of 2023, authorizing the mayor and the directors of the Department of Public Works and the Department of Innovation and Performance to enter into an agreement with Indoor View to improve the management of the City of Pittsburgh's facility spaces for the total cost not to exceed $12,600 in order to change the name of the vendor. Bill 2187, resolution amending Resolution 643 of 2020, authorizing the Department of Innovation and Performance to enter into a contract or contracts with Catalyst Public Works and Citizen Engagement, LLC, and/or its division, QSyn Technologies, Inc., for the purchase of Constituent Relationship Management, CRM, software services necessary for the operations of the city's 311 response line by increasing the approved amount by $59,650.97 for an amended total cost not to exceed $554,782.87 over 9 years. And Bill 2188, ordinance amending the Pittsburgh Code of Ordinances, Title IV, Public Places and Property, Article 11, Parks and Playgrounds, by adding a new Chapter 481, Use Regulations, providing guidance for development in parks and greenways.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And Councilman Wilson, Chair of Land Use and Economic Development. And Councilwoman Warwick for Councilman Wilson.
Thank
No,
you, Madam
no new.
President.
What is there? I have no papers there. Oh, he has a last-minute one. Thank you, Councilwoman.
Councilman Wilson presents Bill number 2198, resolution amending and supplementing Resolution 23 of 2023 entitled Resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Office of Management and Budget on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh to enter into an agreement or agreements with the vendor chosen through the city bid process for the purpose of purchasing and discharging eligible healthcare debt owed by Pittsburghers at a cost not to exceed $1 million by adding language about the eligible populations and revising the funding sources to be used for the agreement.
Thank you. That was a last-minute bill. I apologize to everyone for it not being on the agenda. And myself, Chair of Hearings and Policy, I have no new bills. We will now move on to unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business before council? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next order of business, which is the reports of committee for final action. We'll start with Councilman Daniel Lavelle, Committee on Finance and Law.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Lavelle presents Bill 2170, reported to Committee on Finance and Law for November 14, 2023, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 2123, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of a single payment in 2023 to Sherry Kleindl and David Kleindl and their attorneys Meyer Dura in an amount not to exceed $25,000 in settlement of a case filed in Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas. Bill 2124, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of a single payment in 2023 to Michael J. Weissmantle and his attorneys, Woomer and Tallarico, in an amount not to exceed $17,500 in settlement of a case filed in the Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas. Bill 2125, resolution authorizing the mayor, director of public safety, director of finance, and director of public works on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh to enter into a lease agreement or agreements with PNC Financial Services Group, Inc. for providing a police substation at 439 Wood Street over a 5-year term beginning January 2024 with a total cost not to exceed $590,150 over 5 years. Bill 2126, ordinance amending and supplementing Section 197.09 of the City Code under Article 11 of Title I, Administrative, by clarifying the discretionary roles of the mayor's office, city council, and the Ethics Hearing Board in managing the personnel and budgetary expenses of the Ethics Hearing Board. And Bill 2132, resolution transferring the amount of $27,000 within the 2023 operating budget from city council salaries and wages regular to council as a body for the purpose of professional services.
Heard the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills? And Councilman, I think Coghill, you have an amendment?
I do. I'd like to explain those if I could.
Yes, please.
Okay, well, after hearing concerns from members as to, what we're paying in leases and rents, specifically for public safety, we have the Woodruff Street Special Ops, and then we also have, headquarters in the north side. So after hearing those concerns, I teamed up with Madam President here, and we got on the phone with PNC to discuss possibly a even more discounted rate than what they were offering us. And we weren't exactly in the position of strength, being that we were getting it probably at half the market value as it was. So we placed a call, and much to my delight, Vice President of Real Estate for PNC, Kevin Wade, and his partners, Tommy Lamb, who's Michael's brother, really out of the goodness of their heart, and really, they just truly want to be a partner with the city of Pittsburgh. They have decided to cut those costs in half. So they were charging us $10 per square foot. That will be now $5 per square foot, and that's, in your amendments, instead of, say year one, $85,830, it's $42,915, and so on throughout the years. In all, around a savings of about $213,000 for the city of Pittsburgh that we could put towards, other things that are well needed. I did want to remark, Madam President suggested this, and I thought it was a great idea, and the people at PNC thought it was also thought it was a great idea. The Lantern building that we were leasing or renting, there was a lot of damage, a lot of physical damage down there. We don't know if it was our people or people coming in and out of there, but through that, out of goodwill, since they're decreasing our payments by over $200,000, we added an additional $23,000 to the security deposit for any possible damages that we are responsible, us and the people who, come into the place. So we thought it to be, an act of goodwill. PNC is grateful that we have now a $25,000 security deposit at the end of 5 years. If there's damages from, one of our entities, then we're going to be responsible for them. And it also helps us keep an eye on, damages that we incur and costs that come back to us. So couldn't be more grateful to PNC. Again, they're a really great partner for the city of Pittsburgh. Also, I want to thank, again, Madam President, thank you for getting on the phone. She's actually the one that made the ask. I was still in the mode of buttering them up and, trying to tell them we're in financial, disarray. And, Madam President asked, and there was a little bit of quiet for about a second, and then, Mr. Wade decided to agree to give us that even at a further discounted rate. So with that, the price is right. The facility is beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. It's first class, first rate, $8 million renovation. And truly PNC's efforts, not only just with the substation, but along that whole corridor, their optimism about downtown in the city of Pittsburgh is really encouraging to me. So I look forward to working with them on other projects in the future, but for this one, I'm grateful and thankful that they, saved us a little bit of money. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other members? I'm just going to thank you because honestly, I did make the ask, but I made it because you came in on the phone in my office saying, hey, we got to get this down. And I said to them, I used your name and all your connections. And I said, he put his name on the line out there saying that he thought that you would, work with us in good faith. And they did. They immediately, they offered, half. And I was actually stunned.
So
and I
was
thought,
I.
this guy's amazing. I mean, all the connections you have and all the people willing to help you do things. So thank you very much for what you
A
did.
shout out to my brother who's
this is
good
not
friends with Kevin Wade. So
this is
I
not the
think that
first
helped.
time you've done this, though.
Right.
So this is, thankful to PNC, but there was something recently with the
Stun
police, the guns,
Tasers.
from the police. That's right, where you got that down too. And I want to thank Director Schmidt for being so willing to work with us and eager to make sure that if we can save money, for additional money, because sometimes it's great to hear from directors. But sometimes they'll change their minds. People will change their minds when they hear from elected officials. And so I want to thank you for that. But I want to thank him also for being so willing to work with us and agreeable to making sure that this happened. So thank you to Director Schmidt.
Madam
as well.
President, if I could add, thank you for mentioning Director Schmidt. I don't expect him to negotiate deals when they come in. He's got his hands full with other things. When it comes to the finances of the city of Pittsburgh, I feel that's more of our role. But he's really been cooperative in saying, okay, let's go back to them and let's renegotiate or see if we can renegotiate.
Right.
So thankful to him as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks to everyone involved and thanks to council members. With that said, all in favor of the amendment? I'm sorry, anything else on discussion on the amendment? All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bills amended. Now, Madam Clerk, on the final bills.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus. Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Carol Smith, President.
Aye.
6 ayes, 0 noes.
And Councilman Wilson's on the phone?
Yeah, he's on the phone.
Councilman Wilson?
Mr. Wilson?
I heard something, but I don't hear him now.
I think he's a
Madam
phone
President,
Yes. Councilman Kraus?
forgive me. Did my vote register?
Madam
No.
Clerk? Yes? Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman. And Councilman Wilson?
He may be on the phone as a number. You may need to let him in.
Can you get him through? Unmute him? He just has to unmute, Madam.
You hear me?
Yes, now we can. Please register your vote.
Okay,
Aye. Thank you, Councilman.
8 ayes, 0 noes.
The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. And that moves us on to, let me move stuff out of the way here. Next committee which is Councilman Kraus, Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure. Councilman Kraus.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Councilman.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Kraus presents Bill number 2171, reported to Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure for November 14, 2023, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 2120, resolution authorizing the Director of the Department of Finance on behalf of the City of Pittsburgh to execute necessary documents for the transmission of a drainage easement, temporary construction easement, and utility easement to the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation over certain parcels in the 14th Ward in lieu of eminent domain in order to facilitate advancement of PennDOT's Commercial Street Bridge Replacement Project at no cost to the city. And Bill 2121, resolution authorizing the City of Pittsburgh and the Director of the Department of Finance to enter into a permanent easement agreement or agreements with Duquesne Light Company to provide, install, use, own, operate, maintain, repair, renew, and finally remove one anchor attached to a pole located upon city-owned property in Homewood Park at no cost to the city.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills? Seeing none, the bills are now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage, vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson. Mrs. Kelsmith, President.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 noes.
Thank you. The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. That moves us on to Councilman Bobby Wilson, Committee on Land Use and Economic Development.
Oh, sorry, Madam, did we get these two 2126 and 2123
Which ones were they?
on the ethics? Did we read those? Oh, we did, sorry, never mind.
Both of my bills are otherwise.
What bill were you talking about? 2126 and 2132.
Yeah, that was with.
Did we read those?
That was in Councilman Lavelle's committee. They
Those
were
were- Okay, sorry.
They already went through. Thank you. Councilman Wilson.
Here, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Wilson presents Bill number 2172, reported at Committee on Land Use and Economic Development for November 14, 2023, with an affirmative recommendation. Resolution authorizing the mayor's office to enter a one-year mini reimbursement agreement for the 2023 Love Your Block program at a cost not to exceed $20,000. Bill 2129, resolution providing for an agreement or agreements with the Urban League of Pittsburgh for the implementation, administration of the housing counseling program and related costs in an amount not to exceed $100,000. Bill 2130, resolution further amending resolution number 886 of 2021, effective December 27, 2021, as amended, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2022 Capital Budget and the 2022 Community Development Block Grant Program and the 2022 through 2027 Capital Improvement Program, so as to grant $25,000 to Brashear Association and authorize a subsequent agreement. Bill 2131, resolution further amending resolution number 840 of 2019, effective January 1, 2020, as amended, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2020 Capital Budget and the 2020 Community Development Block Grant Program, approving the 2020 through 2025 Capital Improvement Program by reducing City View Church by $2,500 and increasing St. Michael's Food Bank by $2,500 and authorizing subsequent agreements. And Bill 2136, resolution authorizing the acceptance of a quitclaim deed conveying all rights, title, and interest in 5033 Electric Street and dedicating said property as part of the Hazelwood Greenway.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills? Seeing none, the bills are now ready for final action.
Madam President, may I?
Yes, Councilman.
Thank you very much. Just briefly want to thank the administration and especially Deputy Mayor Pollack for working with me to secure that $25,000 funding for the Brashear Association, which, as I'm sure you and Councilman Coghill know, and most likely the remainder of council members, that Brashear is our largest social service provider in all of South and West Pittsburgh. And we love being able to support them. So thank members for voting for this, and thank especially Deputy Mayor Pollack for helping to secure it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. And I want to congratulate you for making sure you got them their additional funding, and a great job in collaborating with the mayor's office. That's
Thanks,
it.
Madam
The
President.
bills are now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson. Mrs. Killsmith, President.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 noes.
Thank you. The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. And that moves us on to our last committee of the day, Councilwoman Deborah Gross, Committee on Intergovernmental and Educational Affairs.
Madam President?
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Gross presents Bill Number 2173, reported to Committee on Intergovernmental and Educational Affairs for November 14, 2023, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 2061, resolution requesting the approval of an intermunicipal transfer of a liquor license located at 3058 Washington Pike from the Wheel Bar to applicant Games and Axes pursuant to amended Pennsylvania Liquor Code. Bill 2118, resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for Rhythm Square at 2239 Center Avenue at no cost to the city. Bill 2119, resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for 1106 Reedsdale Street, 21st Ward, City of Pittsburgh, at no cost to the city. Bill 2127, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Innovation and Performance on behalf of the City of Pittsburgh to enter into an agreement or agreements or amendments thereto with the Risk Factor LLC for subscription to Risk Factor First Street Foundation database for all data and hazard layers for all perils and all parcels in the City of Pittsburgh, enabling support of city departments and planning for weather-related hazards and a cost not to exceed $20,000 over 1 year.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills? Seeing none, the bills are ready for final action. All in favor of the passage will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson. Mrs. Killsmith, President.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 noes.
Thank you. The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. That moves us on to motions and resolutions. I have a few meeting announcements. This afternoon at 1:30 p.m., Council will hold our standing committees meeting. To register to speak at this meeting, please fill out the sign-up form on the council meeting webpage or call the city clerk's office at 412-255-2138. Speaker registration will close at 12:30 p.m. today. On Tuesday, November 21st at 10 a.m., Council's budget hearings will continue with Housing Authority of the City of Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh Parking Authority, chaired by Councilwoman Gross. And at 1:30 p.m., council budget hearings will continue with the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure, chaired by Councilman Kraus. In observance of Thanksgiving holiday, council and the clerk's office will be closed on Thursday, November 23rd and Friday, November 24th. Is there anything from members? I would just like to thank everyone who participated in the Light Up Night in the City of Pittsburgh. They did a fabulous job. All of our departments, I see, we have a lot of great employees that we sometimes take for granted and don't realize all that they put out and do for us, for the city of Pittsburgh. So I want to thank everyone. I don't want to miss anyone, so I'll just thank everyone who had anything to do with it. It was a great night. I thought it was a large crowd. And I hope everyone has a happy and safe Thanksgiving, safe travels. And I think, Madam Clerk, you may be losing your voice. Our budget director told me because you might have been cheering on Central Catholic this week. So I'm not sure, but thank you. Central also makes us proud that they're in the city of Pittsburgh. With that said, could I have a motion to excuse the absent member, approve the minutes, and adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.